NASCAR now will have officially 2 Supercars drivers in the field for the Chicago Street Race for the Cup Series. There's still pending announcements in terms of Brock Feeney, Cam Waters. That's been reported on weeks ago. This was reported on weeks ago. But now, Kaulig Racing, Will Brown have made it official. Will Brown will drive the number 13 Kaulig Racing Chevy at Chicago. Get yourself a look at the paint scheme. Looks very similar to Brody Kostecki's scheme from 2023, I guess that was. And then the scheme Will Brown ran last year with Richard Childress Racing in the 33 car. So this Mobile X, they seem to be an Australian sponsor. I'm going to take a wild guess. Let's get to the statement. Let's get to the press release and see what was said. Kaulig Racing welcomes Supercars champion Will Brown for the Chicago Street Race. The city of Chicago has lured another Supercars champion to its streets. Kaulig Racing announced today it will enter reigning Supercars Australia champion Will Brown in the NASCAR Cup Series race at the July 6th Chicago Street Race, one of the most anticipated races of the year. For his first outing with Kaulig Racing, Brown in the number 13 Chevrolet will be heavily supported by longtime partners of the Aussie. Mobile X, the most customizable, words are hard, wireless service designed to save customers money, available at Walmart, will serve as the primary partner along with financial services leader Shaw and Partners Financial Services. I think I just said that a couple days ago with the Jack Perkins news. Additional partners featured on the number 13 include Quadlock, KMC Wheels, Direct Plasterboard Outlet, also known as DPO, Complete Parts and Equipment Solutions, Southern Cross Truck Rentals, Worth, Supercars Championship Repco, Express Fleet XF, and Leaf Filter Gutter Protection. That last one, that is a Kaulig sponsor, ladies and gentlemen. The other ones I'm pretty sure are all Australian sponsors. When it says Supercars Championship Repco, does that mean the entire Supercars Championship Series is like sponsoring him for this race? Am I misreading that? Maybe? Anywho, let's get to the quotes now. After watching SVG win the 2023 Chicago NASCAR race and getting to drive myself at Sonoma last year, I've been really keen to have a go at the Grant Park 165, said Will Brown. The Supercars calendar aligned this year to give me time to get over to Charlotte early to prepare and give the race a crack. I have watched Kaulig Racing closely this season, and I'm really excited to get behind the wheel of the Mobile X and Shaw and Partners Financial Services number 13. Matt Kaulig, the team owner, said, "This is an amazing opportunity for Kaulig Racing to compete for a win in one of the most prestigious events on the calendar. We are so excited to have Will race with us and compete for the trophy. The team is ready, and we know he has the talent." And then Will Brown on the Twitter said, "Going street course racing at the Grant Park 440 and the NASCAR Cup Series with Kaulig Racing. Can't wait to get over there and give it a crack. Bring on Chicago." 440. So I saw that number at first, and I was like, 440? I was like, man, I thought they shortened this race, not added on to it. And then I was like, oh, right. Kilometers. So probably the amount of kilometers. What's 165 to, how many kilometers is that? And it's like 265. And I was like, 440? Where did that number come from? So I don't know where 440 came from. Maybe he's running the Xfinity race too, and that's just yet to be announced. I don't know. Maybe, but I don't know where that number came from. That's the whole point of me saying this. Like, I don't know where 440 came from. Point being, I'm confused. Anywho, let's talk about it. Will Brown to the Kaulig Racing number 13 car for the Chicago Street Race in the Cup Series. Obviously, we know the history of Supercars drivers in Chicago. This is going to be year 3 of the Chicago Street Race. The first year we saw Shane Van Gisbergen win that first one. The second year he shows up in a Kaulig car and he dominates the first stage, wins stage 1. He ends up getting wrecked out. So, but then we flip to the Xfinity side, wins the Xfinity race there. That's one guy, but it's a Supercars guy. That's why I'm referencing that. So Will Brown, just like SVG, a lot of experience in supercars. The supercar, very similar to the Cup Series car. and a lot of experience on street courses, whereas the NASCAR Cup Series field only has 2 races worth of experience on the street courses. Or for some guys have 3 because they raced the Xfinity race last year like Larson. Anywho, the point being that that's going to be a big advantage for Will Brown. It's not going to be as big of an advantage as SVG had in 2023 because now these teams, these drivers, they have more experience and data on a street course, this street course specifically, so it won't be as big of an advantage for him, but he may have a step up on a good chunk of the field in terms of having a lot of street racing experience. Another factor, Kaulig Racing last year was bad. They were not fast. The only time they were fast is when SVG and AJ Allmendinger showed up to the road courses. Outside of that, maybe a super speedway, good result every once in a while. Outside of that, couldn't tell you a significant thing they did in the Cup Series last year. But this year, Kaulig Racing has made a huge step up in their speed. AJ Allmendinger is 17th in points, just like 15 or so points out of a playoff position. Ty Dillon is 31st in points, but he's had some good runs this year as well. But the point being is that Kaulig is in a much better place than they were last year. Now, we expect high things out of AJ Allmendinger on road courses, whether it's Watkins Glen, Sonoma, Chicago, whatever. We have high expectations for AJ Allmendinger. So when he goes out and he scores a top 10, scores a top 5, whatever, it's not that big of a surprise. But Kaulig as a whole this season has been fast. And albeit we've only been to one road course this year, but the point being, Kaulig Racing has figured something out. This alliance with RCR has somehow helped them out. I don't know what it is, but they're faster this year. That's the whole point of me saying this. So Will Brown in the third, in the third Kaulig Racing car has a really good shot at being competitive, actually. And last year, as I said, we saw the 13 car on road courses be competitive. I think AJ Allmendinger scored a top 10 at COTA. SVG put it on the pole at the Charlotte Roval. Like, the 13 car has been competitive on the road course when it has a good driver. So we'll see how Will Brown ends up doing. I think he has a really good shot at putting up a competitive finish, putting up a good result. I'm talking top 10, maybe even a top 5. Winning, I guess it's possible. I'm never going to rule out a supercars guy at a street race again after what happened the last time I did that. So I'm not going to rule it out. But as I said, I think the field, having a couple more years of experience now on a street course, specifically this one, I think that closes the gap on these guys like SVG, Will Brown, Cam Waters, whoever, who have more years of experience doing the street racing. I think it's closed the gap. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, all these guys are better. Will Brown's going to run 33rd. Like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that. Like, that's probably not going to be the case. But in terms of the top drivers, like a Larson, like an Elliott, like a Christopher Bell, like they may have closed the gap a little bit more, if you get what I'm saying. So Will Brown, the defending Supercars champion, coming back over for another shot at NASCAR. Yeah, we'll see how he ends up doing. Obviously, Chicago, I guess it's about a month and a week away. We're almost to June at this point, so actually pretty close. Wow, time flies really fast. Anywho, that'll be an interesting race. Any other news, I will let you guys know. As I said, there's been reports that Cam Waters is going to be in the Cup race, that Brock Feeney is going to be in the Xfinity race. So we'll see what ends up happening there. But just a reminder that Will Brown is going to be in this race with Kaulig Racing, who SVG raced for last year. But we'll see. We'll see how this ends up going. Thanks for watching this video. Leave me your thoughts in the comments on how you think Will Brown is going to do. And I'll see you guys in the next one.